Hi, today we're talking about ladders and ladder safety. Remember, this is a review for the class you've already had, but you know, this is not every safety feature that's out there or even every bit of training you possibly get. Please spend time getting that training for your environment you're going to be in. We're going to go over some of the safety features we have for our company and what we like to see. The first thing we want to go over is basically situational awareness. I think this is one thing that people forget all the time. Look at your environment that you're in. Let us know when there's, something maybe on the bottom of the ladder here. So we've got stuff stacked all up. If you're walking down here and you got pipe all piled up at the bottom of the ladder, that's going to be a problem. Also, one thing that a lot of people don't think of is up above the ladder. Are you going to ram your head into a pipe? Or are you going to run your head into the main power lines for the house? Whatever that might be. And then side to side, where am I stepping off on the ladder on both sides? Do I have a decent platform to step off on? Is it safe? Is the roof covered in leaves maybe? You know, that kind of a situation. So that's kind of I want you to kind of look at your environment. Then look at the ground. Is the ground level? You know, are we dealing with something where we've got stairs we may be on? Try to find your level of space we possibly can. Remember, an inch here, by the time we get up to 32 feet, maybe even a foot off. So try to find something very level. If possible, use the ladders with the ladder stabilizers on them. Something that can adjust for the uneven ground. Now when it comes to next is a really important one. This should be every single day. Inspect your ladders. Making sure that the rungs are in good shape. We don't have any busted rungs. The fiberglass is in good shape. The feet don't have the rubber missing on them. You know, we don't have any damage down there, any parts that are rusted out. Some parts can be replaced. You know, we can replace the feet. We can replace locks. You know, we can replace rubber bumpers and things like that on ladders. If a ladder becomes damaged, it must be destroyed. So bringing it back, make sure you're talking to your safety officer at the company and make sure they're the ones making the decision on whether it needs to be thrown away or repaired. But if the ladder's damaged, it needs to be pulled off the truck and tagged, like we've talked about in the last few weeks. Tagged as damaged, don't use, okay? Now, another thing that we want to worry about when we first get started is electrical safety. Mainly, we are an electrical company. We work around electrical hazards all the time. Aluminum ladders are not something we want to use unless you're one of the side owners, maybe one of their 32-foot ladders where they're not doing any electrical work or anything from that, and they're going to be able to use that. Aluminum ladder can be very dangerous if you get connected to any electricity. So no aluminum ladders. We want to make sure that that ladder is set up for the environment you're in. So, meaning that I don't want to be working off an aluminum ladder if I'm working on electrical, maybe electrical light, something like that. We want to make sure we're using fiberglass ladders. Now, as far as design of ladders, we use about 3 different types here. We have your A-frame ladder style, which is a self-supporting ladder. We have the full-size extension ladders, and then we have the platform ladders in the shop. We do not allow ladders like this, you know, extension type ladders or single ladders to be used inside the shop. At that point, we want to make sure that we're not using them on the really slick concrete. Outside, okay, inside, no. So we want to watch out for that. As far as A-frame ladders, they're to be used only inside the shop and when we're out in the field. So when it comes to our next thing, we want to make sure ladders are rated to that 300-pound rating, a professional rating. So all of our ladders are at least 300 or 375 for the different types of ladders that are out there. Once we've got the ladder where we want it, we've got it up on here. Remember, ladders like this are a 2-person ladder. We want somebody to support the ladder at the bottom, and then making sure that as we're going up and securing the ladder, until the ladder's secured, that's a 2-person ladder. So the one thing we want to make sure is we do the angle that we want to have proper on the roof. We use the 1-to-4 ratio, meaning that every 4 feet we go up, we want it to come 4 feet back. If you'll swing around to this side real quick. So when it comes to that, we're actually talking about the edge of the roof coming straight down. So imagine this strap basically coming down. We're not measuring off the wall here, we're measuring straight down off the ladder here into the bottom of the feet. Now a couple tricks we can use to do that is to sit there and use the feet themselves. The flat part of the feet, we can sit there and measure off and make sure we've got a level surface coming right off the feet. That puts us at the right angle, you know, so if we're having that kind of a situation. Now when it comes to another easy technique, I can take my feet, put them at the edge of the ladder here, at the very bottom, and I can stick my hands out. That's kind of where we want to be, that 74-ish degrees. So I can either take my palm of my hands or my fingers here, and I'm feeling pretty good about that, making sure we're set, okay? Once we've got that done, we want to talk about kind of the safety features we want to add to our ladders to help us with that. The big one on top is our ladder hooks, or ladder horns, okay? Those guys are going to be very important for the use that we run into all the time. And they're commonly called gutter guards. So gutter guards meaning something that's going to protect us, the gutter on the customer's roof. You know, you'll see a lot of accidents happen when the gutter crushes in because they've leaned the ladder up against the gutter finally gives way or falls off completely, and then we have a problem. So the other thing we want to watch out for is if we've got the gutter guard on there, that we're replacing our tips. These are replaceable. You can purchase them and just go ahead and put them on. Also, we can spin them. They got 4 sides. We can keep spinning and make sure you're taping them on so they don't fall off like this one did. This one's in our repair shop here. Next item that's really important. We want to make sure you're wearing your ladder gloves. So that glove goes on the very top and protects a couple things. Not only does it protect if you're leaning up against the side of the house, we must have these. So if you're leaning up against the side of the house, you have to have these. That also goes with our angle, our A-frame type ladders. We're not allowed to use them as a leaning ladder unless they have the designed rubber bumpers already on them. So we don't want to use them in this configuration here. These are standalone ladders. They must be used that way. As far as the rubber bumpers, they need to go on top, and that protects the wall itself and also protects us from slipping off the wall, side to side. Gutter guards also are a really big help for that. Now when it comes to, height of ladders, we want to make sure that we have at least 3 foot above the roof. Now we don't want to have 6 feet above the roof. We really want that 3 foot. That runs into, on average, not a guarantee, but usually 4 rungs of the ladder. I hear all the time 3 rungs. It's 3 feet, not 3 rungs. So usually 4 rungs works really, really well. And then we're, assessing that. On our A-frame ladders, you'll see most of our ladders are rated for the top platform and the step just below that to not be used as actual steps. We're not to be on top, and we're not to be on that first step. Now we get into these little bitty ladders, they're designed to step on top, so that's okay. But we want to make sure that that ladder's rated for that 300-pound rating and all that kind of information here. The other thing we want to make sure is that we can still read our ratings on the side, what the actual rating for the max height is, and the 300-pound rating. All that needs to be kept intact. We can't spray over that with our name or anything like that. We want to make sure those are intact. Next thing here, ladder, tying ourselves off to the ladder, or to the house. 1, do not tie yourself to the gutter. The gutter is not a supported item or structurally sound. So we want to make sure we're grabbing into part of the framing here. Now the way we have our system is that the ropes are slidable. People always want to sit there and go, oh my gosh, why is it sliding? Well, it slides based on how I'm going to tie it to the house. If I'm tying to one of the joists coming down, I can tie this way and I pull directly to the ladder. If I'm tying to a fascia board, and I know the fascias can handle that, you don't want to be tying to the little half-inch stuff, but if you're tying to a full-size piece that's been nailed in properly, I can move my straps out here to the edge and pull directly on it, okay? Now, we want to make sure we're using one of the full-size clamps. Now, the clamp we have up on this one here is for our demonstration wall. It's really, really small. We want to make sure we can get that handle locked down and twist that guy to really make sure we can crank it down. And again, making sure we're facing the hook towards us. So we don't want it like this, and then when we jerk on it the first time, it slides and we pop out 3 or 4 inches. We definitely don't want that. Any ladder that is going to be stepped off of onto the roof needs to be tied down. And that's where we get into a rated strap. Our straps are rated for a minimum of 350 pounds. Most of them are 500 pounds. We want to loop underneath the rung that's 45 degree angles down. So we don't want to go to the first rung we come to. We want to go to that second rung. We're going to come down underneath and out the outside and then tie it in. These are not Velcroed on or anything else. This is a rated strap. So we want to do that and do it on both sides. This does a few things. One, it helps keep the ladder from kicking out. 2, it helps the ladder from going side to side, and it doesn't allow the ladder to come backwards. So we really want to make sure we always are installing that if we're using it to step off the roof. If we're just leaning up against the house, the rubber guards are enough. Now when it comes to ladder storage, this is another one that I see a lot of people taking and damaging their ladders based on how they tie them down to the trucks and where they leave them in the shop. When you're tying them down, do not crank them down until you're actually hearing the ladder crack under the pressure. We want to make sure that that ladder is stored properly and as much as possible left out of the sun. Once they get to a point of where they're faded out too bad and you can't read the labels on the ladder, that would definitely be a time the ladder needs to be taken out of service and disposed of. If a foot's broken, take it out of the service until it's fixed. We want to make sure you're safe here. Follow these rules. They will keep you safe. If you guys have any questions, as always, hit us up with any of your questions. Again, this is an overview. This is not every bit of ladder safety. Keep in mind of how you're taking care of your own safety. That's really your job. The job of the company is make sure you have the proper equipment, but to you to make sure you have the things you need on your truck checked, inspected, and properly, in working order to make that happen. So as always, guys, have a great day and thank you very much.